Today, I wanted to offer a message of unity, not so much for me and you, but for you and the other side of the aisle. And I guess I'm speaking to conservatives, liberals, primarily, because y'all think you have everything kind of opposite each other, and you think that the other side's not just wrong, but wrong-headed, and maybe even evil or bad, and you think that they are going to be the ruin of good life. And I guess my message today is that let's look on the positive side. Have a little bit of hope. Have a little bit of, I don't know, that strength to look at your similarities. And there'll be plenty of time to go back and look at the areas that you disagree about. But the important thing is looking at your similarities. And I wrote a Substack article that lists them out, and I'll link that down below. But kind of to summarize it a bit, and there's a lot more detail, but to kind of make it a little bit shorter, there are so many areas that fundamentally y'all agree with each other. So don't hate each other. And an example is you both agree that government is either morally acceptable or it's necessary. Like even if you don't love it and you think, yeah, maybe there could be a different way, I'm not willing to throw away this thing that I've been told works somewhat. And you know it doesn't work. I mean, think about somebody who has their bicycle stolen. Do you think government's going to get it back for you in good condition, or your car or something like that? Probably not. Now, occasionally they will, but overall, government doesn't do a good job at that. Have you ever seen a pothole in a road? Have you ever seen uh, just the general thing that government does of when they try to administer things or manage things, they turn into this huge bureaucracy, and they're inefficient. They just don't get stuff done. And then even if you have somebody who comes in and a populist and who tries to tell you, oh, now we're going to do it all efficiently, it's not true. When that person comes out with their next budget, it's not like they've tried to reduce things. They've just moved things around to where they want them to be. And the this truth has existed forever, I think. Can you think of a time when your favorite party actually made a real material difference to something? It's usually just a matter of degrees. Maybe one party wants a 35% income tax and the other wants a 38%. And they both think the other side is just absolutely ridiculous and horrible. And chances are that 5 years from then and 20 years from then, governments will steal anywhere from 20% to 80% of what the producers produce. That's what governments do. And y'all really do agree with that. It's not the amount. You don't mind it. Right now it's 2025, and Donnie is saying like, the budget he just came out with, it's bigger than the who was the guy? Not Obama. There was the old senile guy that was running against him or whatever, the gal, whatever it was. If those people had been in, do you think it would have been any different? Don't you think they would have had a roughly similar budget? The guy who says he wants smaller government increased the budget. And then the people who have a religious devotion to him, they try to think of a good excuse. Fortunately, Fox is there to provide it. And the excuse is, well, it's for important things that we like. Well, the liberal side believes 100% the same. I think the budget should be blah, blah, blah. And the reason it should be that size is because it provides for what I think should happen. So both sides completely agree. The budget should be whatever because of what I want. That's what it comes down to. So you're in complete agreement. That's a huge deal. What's even a bigger deal, though? The Federal Reserve, central banking. Once again, conservatives and liberals agree. A Federal Reserve bank or some other private bank similar to it, quasi private, it's okay that it exists. It's not something that we should all be rioting in the streets over and refusing to pay politicians, etc. It's just kind of how things are. You guys agree. You've given up, or you haven't really looked into it to understand what it is. You've given up and you think that's okay. So once again, yeah, you and I are at odds, but you two are not at odds with each other. My liberal friend and my conservative friend, you guys are on the same side. You guys agree. So please celebrate that. What else is similar? Oh, war. You both agree that it's okay for some people, the politicians, who you both agree are what are the polls that Democrats and Republicans agree that the only group that is anywhere close to being as distrusted, disliked, et cetera, compared to politicians are used car salesmen. Like those are the two groups, but used car salesmen aren't even close to politicians. Everybody agrees politicians are bad, but both the liberal and the conservative say, yeah, they're bad, but the people who they hire to mindlessly use force, to use violence, to initiate it against disobedient people who think that the government is bad. You guys support the cops and the military? You both do. I can't understand that. I've cognitive dissonance. I've allowed that into my head, and that's made me think about things critically. So I can't fathom what you could be thinking. But many of you, most of you, 95% of the country hasn't really sat down and taken, I don't know what it would take. And I'm not saying a person on extreme ends of the IQ scale, but if you're in that middle 80%, probably half an hour to an hour of just thinking without the news on or anything like that, just kind of thinking through things. And at least this brighter half of y'all, both sides, would come to the same conclusion. This is kind of silly. It's kind of ridiculous. So there are these many reasons. I just mentioned what, three or four, and I mentioned a lot more in my Substack article. These are reasons that you guys should be celebrating. You don't really disagree. There are people who are trying to rile you up. But the truth is, you guys are on opposite sides of an aisle in the same almost religious like political mythology. And I'm not on one of the sides of that aisle. I'm out way beyond the parking lot. I'm not even in the cathedral. I'm not even in the cathedral grounds. I'm somewhere off in the beautiful countryside or some little town out there, just trying to be productive and get along well with my neighbors and not initiate violence against anyone else. Even if I could get a group of people who call themselves government to agree, even if they would agree to do what I want and to take money away from other people against their will, and then spend that money doing what I want. Of course, after paying for administrative costs. Even if I could get that, I wouldn't want that for you. I don't hate you. I respect your right to make choices for yourself, and I am going to make choices for myself. And some of my choices are going to be lousy, and some of yours are going to be lousy. And as long as we're not initiating violence against each other, taking each other's stuff, punching each other, bombing each other, whatever, as long as we're not doing that stuff, I figure we can get along.